There's a moment a lot of people describe the same way. You reach for your phone in the dark to check the time. The numbers are blurry, not dramatically, just slightly. And you tell yourself it's tiredness, but it keeps happening. And then one morning you walk into a room and stand there for a full 10 seconds trying to remember why you came in. And you laugh it off. Something in you didn't find it funny. Every health video you've ever watched about aging got this wrong. Not partially wrong. Structurally, factually wrong. They tell you the truth about fading vision and slipping memory as simple status. It's just decline. Inevitable. The price of getting older. Accept it. Manage it. Medicate it. They never told you about what your body is actually trying to do between 10 at night and 2 in the morning. Look, I'm going to be honest about where I stand on this. I think the way we're told to handle getting older is fundamentally broken. We're taught to accept the fog as the price of admission. I don't buy it. I've looked at the biochemistry of nighttime recovery, and I'm standing on the side of the evidence that says your body is still capable of repair, if you actually give it the raw materials to work with. The real reason your memory feels like it's slipping isn't because your brain is dying. It's because it's suffocating. And while you were told there's nothing you can do to restore what's being lost, the research into what happens inside your brain and your eyes during deep sleep says something very different. Here's the mechanism. And I want you to stay with this because it's the piece everything else in this video depends on. During the slow wave stages of sleep, the phases your body hits in the first half of the night, your brain activates something called the glymphatic system. Think of it as the overnight cleaning crew. Cerebrospinal fluid moves through channels between neurons and flushes out the metabolic waste that built up during the day. One of the primary waste products being cleared is amyloid beta, a protein directly associated with memory degradation when it accumulates. Your brain is not passively resting while you sleep, it is actively cleaning itself. At the same time, your retinal cells, the photoreceptors at the back of your eye responsible for processing light and transmitting visual information, run their own repair cycle. They are among the highest energy-consuming cells in the human body, and they are critically dependent on specific compounds to complete that repair efficiently. Your brain and your eyes are the two most metabolically expensive organs you own. They produce more waste and require more repair than almost anything else. And while you sleep, your body is running a cleaning operation. But most of us are sending the cleaning crew in without any supplies. Before I go further, let me explain something. There's a concept called survivorship bias. We only hear the stories of people who survive to tell them. In health research, trials on nutritional interventions often study populations already eating processed diets, with compromised gut health, with disrupted sleep architecture. And when the results are modest, the conclusion becomes, it doesn't work. What that conclusion actually means is, it didn't work in that environment under those conditions, for those people. The reason this matters here is that the 4 compounds I'm about to walk you through require a functional biological environment to do what the research shows they can do. You aren't looking for a shortcut. You're looking for the mechanism. And that's a different conversation entirely. Now, the 4 juices. The first is tart cherry juice. If you've heard of it, you've probably heard of it only in the context of sleep. That part is real. It contains naturally occurring melatonin and raises melatonin levels measurably. But that's where most people stop. What isn't talked about nearly enough is its concentration of anthocyanins, the same class of compounds used in clinical contexts for visual support for decades. Was the anthocyanins in tart cherry juice protect retinal cells from oxidative damage and support the regeneration of rhodopsin, the pigment in your rod cells responsible for low-light vision, that slight blurriness when you reach for your phone in the dark. Rhodopsin is part of that story. The tart cherry isn't just helping you sleep, it's signalling the repair cycle in your macula, While you do, half a cup, unsweetened, in the hour before bed. The second is beetroot juice. I know. Most people's first reaction is the taste. Stay with me. As you age, your microcapillaries, the hair-width blood vessels running through your brain, don't break. They narrow. They compress. Blood flow reduces. And when blood flow to the hippocampus reduces, the glymphatic cleaning process slows. The memory fog you experience isn't a lost memory. It's a memory sitting under metabolic waste that didn't get cleared because the circulation wasn't there to clear it. Beetroot is the most direct dietary source of inorganic nitrates your body converts into nitric oxide. And nitric oxide does something for aging brains and aging eyes that almost nothing else does as efficiently. It dilates blood vessels and restores oxygen delivery to tissue that has been running on reduced supply. The optic nerve requires consistent blood flow to transmit visual signals without degradation. So does the hippocampus. Those two facts are not a coincidence. They share the same vulnerability and they respond to the same intervention. If you're half listening to this while doing something else, I need you to actually look at the screen for this next part. And because this is the piece that connects everything I've said so far. The timing matters as much as the juice itself. These compounds are most effective when consumed between 60 and 90 minutes before sleep, not with dinner. Well, not first thing in the morning. You want them in your bloodstream at the point when the glymphatic system and the retinal repair cycle are beginning to activate, not hours before, not after. This is the window the research keeps pointing at, and the one almost no general health advice mentions. The third is wild blueberry juice, cold-pressed, unsweetened, not from concentrate. The lutein and zeaxanthin in blueberries accumulate directly in the macula, the central portion of your retina responsible for sharp, detailed vision. They function as internal filters, protecting photoreceptors from high-energy light damage over time. But there's a second layer here that most people never reach. A specific flavonoid in wild blueberries has been shown in research to cross the blood-brain barrier and support the maintenance of myelin, the insulating sheath wrapped around your neurons. Think of myelin like the rubber coating on an electrical wire. When it degrades, the signal leaks. The transmission slows. What feels like a memory problem is often a signal integrity problem. The wild blueberry compound doesn't rebuild what's gone, but the evidence suggests it supports the preservation of what remains, and does so specifically during the sleep window when neurological maintenance is already running. The fourth is pomegranate juice. This is the one that kept pulling me back. Pomegranate contains compounds called punicalagins. Your gut metabolizes them into something called urolithin A, and urolithin A crosses the blood-brain barrier. What it does on the other side is target mitochondrial function in neurons. Your cellular mitochondria are the energy source for everything your brain does. In aging tissue, mitochondrial efficiency drops. The cells aren't dead, they're running on degraded fuel systems. Urolithin A has demonstrated in research the ability to reduce neuroinflammation and support mitochondrial renewal in brain tissue, specifically in the visual cortex and the regions most directly involved in memory encoding. Most people assume the tiredness and the sharpness loss that come with age are the same problem. They're not. The fatigue is often mitochondrial. The fog is often inflammatory. A pomegranate addresses both through the same pathway. I'll be honest, I didn't want the answer to be this straightforward. I went back to the research looking for a reason. It wasn't. I kept finding the same compounds, the same mechanisms, the same timing window. Here's something worth saving. The four juices work in sequence, not independently. Tart cherry initiates the repair signal and supports the sleep architecture that makes everything else possible. Beetroot opens the vascular pathways so the cleaning crew can actually move. Wild blueberry protects the infrastructure the signal travels through. Pomegranate addresses the energy system powering the whole operation. They are not 4 separate interventions. They are 4 inputs into one process your body is already trying to run. I almost wish I hadn't found this. Because once you see that the suffocation is real, that the fogginess and the blurriness are not the inevitable rust of aging, but the result of a repair process, running without the materials it needs, why, you can't go back to the version of the world where decline felt like something you just had to accept. You're stuck with this now, just like I am. This channel isn't for people who want the comfortable version of health. It's for people who'd rather be uncomfortably right than comfortably wrong. If that's you, you're in the right place. I don't know where you're watching this. Maybe it's late. Maybe you've been noticing these changes for a while and you've been quietly searching for something more specific than the usual advice. But if you've made it this far, I think you already know this is a different kind of conversation. If something in this video landed, the timing window, the glymphatic connection, the fact that vision and memory share the same biological vulnerability, hit the like button. That specific level of clarity is what this channel is built around. Save this one. The next time someone hands you a general multivitamin and tells you that's enough, come back here. The timing window, the specific compounds, the sequence. This is the kind of thing you'll want in front of you again. There's a question this video opened that I haven't fully answered, and I want to name it directly. We talked about what these juices do during sleep, but we didn't go into what happens when the sleep architecture itself is broken, when the slow wave stages where the glymphatic system activates are being cut short. And that degradation makes everything we talked about today significantly less effective. There's a video on this channel that goes directly into that mechanism, and it's the logical next watch after this one. If you know someone, a parent, a partner, a close friend, who's been writing off these changes as just getting older, send this to them. The gap between catching this early and catching it late is real, and this is the kind of thing people wish someone had shown them sooner. I can already see the comment someone is typing right now. But what about the sugar in juice? Won't that spike my insulin? I thought about that too, and it's a legitimate question. The answer is in the dose and the form: half a cup of unsweetened tart cherry, a small glass of cold-pressed blueberry, 4 ounces of pure pomegranate. While these are not the quantities or the formats that produce the blood sugar response people are worried about, the concern is real. The doses here don't trigger it. But here's the question I actually want you to answer. Which of these 4 did you stop drinking years ago because someone told you it didn't matter? Tell me in the comments. I want to know if we're all being given the same incomplete picture. Aging isn't the problem. The problem is sending the cleaning crew in with nothing to work with. And now you know what to hand them.